G'day, I'm Ash, and today I'm going to take you through some of my most hated aircraft in War Thunder. Now, please note, these are my personal least favourite, and you may disagree. That's fine. Leave a comment with your bottom 5 hated aircraft down below. Now, some of these aircraft are actually pretty decent and very good in competent hands, and can be flown exceptionally well. And some of the aircraft on the list are just, well, terrible in general. So, let's get straight into it. Number 10. The French VB1002 and its counterpart, the VB10C-1. Now, at rank 4 there isn't really a lot of options for the French Air Force. Not indigenous French designs, that is. And this thing is on my list because it is extremely heavy, it doesn't turn particularly well, it's decent in a straight line, but lacks also critical acceleration. To top that off, in a dive, especially at higher speeds, the elevator locks up, and, well, its general flight characteristics are non-existent even at high speeds. And when versing other nations that you tend to verse, Germany, Russia, Japan, maybe even Italy, this thing just is outmatched at every class it can get, so it's not a very good fighter. That's why it's ended up on my number 10. Number 9. Now, you're probably wondering why I put the Yak-3P on this list. Well, the Yak-3P is a very interesting aircraft, mainly because, well, in War Thunder it performs fantastically. In fact, it is a fucking good aircraft. But the reason why I have put it on this list is because no one knows a single fucking thing about the bloody aircraft. It's a UFO, and lives up to its name. What we do know about the Yak is that it was only a drawing and was supposed to take part in the Berlin parade, or the Victory Parade. They actually built 596 of these aircraft, and, well, we don't know much else. There wasn't much really to say about it. In War Thunder, most of the flight model issues come from the lack of information that was on hand about this particular variant. As to why I hate it, well, it's a bit of a UFO, and what it claims to be, in War Thunder, it outperforms. Number 8. Similarly to the last aircraft, the Yak-3, this aircraft is the Cannon Stang, also known as the P-51. And because America had only received 3 of these particular aircraft from Britain, they also found out that they didn't really like the cannons. And the reason why I don't like this vehicle in War Thunder is because the British have to pay for a premium version of this very aircraft with cannons, and the Americans only had 3 of these aircraft. They hated the cannons, they stripped it out and put machine guns in instead. So my main reason for this being on my list is because of the machine guns and the historical inaccuracy here. In my personal belief, even though I think this is a great aircraft, I think this should be a rank 3 premium, like the Mustang Mark 1A. Number 7. Now, you probably wouldn't expect the Kingfisher to end up on a list like this, but in this case, the Kingfisher is probably one of the most useless aircraft that I have ever flown in War Thunder. It's heavy, the floats are kind of cumbersome and get in the way, it flies like an absolute sky whale, comparable to the BV238, and it's really on this list because it really sucks, and you know what, the bomb loadout isn't even good, and well, that's why it's number 7. Number 6. The HE162. Now, where do I start with this vehicle? It's a good German jet, although it tends to get up-tiered quite a bit, although that's not my main issue with this vehicle. All of the issues with this particular aircraft stem right out of the fact that it can't take a hit worth a damn, and any sort of resulting in action renders your aircraft pretty much useless. On top of that, the engine is really low powered, so you combine all these factors with an engine that overheats, wants to spontaneously combust and just catch fire all the time, incredibly limited flight performance where you have to rely on energy fighting and boom and zooming. This vehicle is just really a terrible jet, especially when it gets up-tiered, especially when you're versing meteors and vampires and various Russian vehicles and even superprops. Number 5. Possibly one of the ugliest aircraft I have ever seen. This thing is absolutely hideous. It is the ugliest motherfucker I have seen in a long time. This is the CR714. It's a French light attack aircraft, and emphasis on the light. It's really mobile, it's quite agile, it's actually quite an impressive performer. However, because it's French, and because it's ugly as fuck, I really don't like it. It runs out of ammo quite quickly, and the caliber of the ammunition, or so to say the armament, is really limiting. The 7.5s don't quite do enough damage to render this thing kind of useful. Top of the fast fire rate, you tend to use a lot of bullets shooting down a particular target. So this is why it ends up on my list. And number 5, well, this ugly motherfucker. Did I mention it was French? Yeah. It's not the most pretty aircraft. Number 4. I was really reluctant to put this aircraft on the list for several reasons. It is still a fantastic aircraft. However, Germany gets access to, well, probably one of the most fun premium aircraft in its tech tree. This is the P45D, also known as the Hitlerbolt. It is a fantastic aircraft, and, well, it was spammed out a while ago because it kept coming on sale. It's on this list for my most hated aircraft because of that reason. You used to see Axis teams just filled with this motherfucker. It was everywhere, just full teams of Hitlerbolts. It's a great credit income earner, and that's why it was really popular. Also, it's a P47D, so it does everything that the American P47 does, except for the fact that it doesn't get armament presets. And well, you don't have to face the Japanese or the Italians, so that's a bonus too. But because of its risky reputation, it has ended up on this list. Number 3. The Ki44II Otsu. Now, the airframe itself is fantastic. Well, the nose-mounted machine guns are great. But it has one underlying feature, which is one of the reasons why I hate this vehicle the most. You've got to line up your gun conversions because those guns, the 40mm that are attached on the wings, are extremely low velocity, so you have to lead your target an extreme amount to even get hits. And with the limiting ammo on this vehicle, I find it increasingly annoying to play. I think it's got like 12 rounds or something along those lines. There's nothing more that I hate than playing this thing on a regular basis because it's just limited to what it can do. Number 2. Number 2 is similar to the last aircraft. In fact, this is the Ki45 Tie, and the main issue with this particular aircraft is the fact that it has Schrager music, which is a good addition for certain vehicles. However, it's only got a single 37mm cannon and no extra armament at all. On top of that, if it takes a hit, this aircraft will spontaneously combust and just rip apart. It's hard to maneuver. Sure, it can outmaneuver some things, but it's really limited to what its role is. It's meant as a bomber hunter or a ground attacker, but even so, when you're trying to defend yourself, it's really limited. It's ended up on this list for a combination of factors: A, really terrible maps, and incredibly bad performance overall. In the 8 or 9 games that I played in this vehicle just trying to get footage alone, I died pretty quickly. And that's why it's on my shit list. Some honourable mentions that didn't quite make this list include the Whirlwind Mark I, the Firefly Mark I and III, the Wellington Bombers, the Sterling Bombers, basically all the bombers within War Thunder, the Breda 88, the Dornier 335, and the BV238, just to name a few. Number 1. This is the Martin Baker 5, and I hate this vehicle for several reasons. A, it's not the CA-15 Kangaroo, which it strongly resembles as an aircraft that was made out of a prototype Mustang with a high-powered superprop. This vehicle is really slow in a turn. It is incredibly heavy. Sure, it has amazing straight line performance and it has a lot of cannon ammunition, but this is one of the reasons why it is on my list. But anyway, That brings me to the close of my top 10, and the Martin Baker is definitely my most hated vehicle. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching. This is a quick little video. There's several things happening on the channel, so stay tuned. But my name's Ash. I'll catch you in the next one.